Hi everyone, I'm back with another video from the PTR. This time I want to show you how incredibly efficient farming experience in those new Echoing Nightmares can be. So here I built a Marauder Demon Hunter and I fairly optimized it. Nothing super crazy, and I'm Paragon like 1200. And the idea was to try to do this as fast as possible to wave 150 and reset and go again. And do this for half an hour and then see how much we do. So it turns out that if you try to go very fast at this pace and you kind of start striving towards the later waves, it takes pretty much exactly 2 minutes to actually reach the wave 150. And then the idea, at least on softcore, is to die immediately and reset the encounter that way. So otherwise you have to wait for the arena to fill up and you get overwhelmed. You see this bar on the right. This gets increased when there's more monsters that you don't kill. And this can take up to like half a minute or so, where you just like sit there and wait or run circles, and you can shortcut that by a death. What we found out is that wave 150 is the cap for rewards right now, and wave 150 gives you 800-ish billion XP. It's actually a bit more. For me, it turned out to be 870 billion on average. So it has a bit of ups and downs depending on the monsters you're getting. But it's around 850 billion XP or so, give or take. And you can do this like around every 3 minutes. So 850 billion XP is quite a lot of XP. So as a bit of a point of reference, for example, Paragon 1000 is 10.8 trillion XP. So you'd have to do like 12 runs or so to get Paragon 1000. Paragon 2000 is 110 trillion XP. So you'd have to do something like 130 runs or so for Paragon 2000. And 130 runs would take you no more than like 7 hours or so of this. So the efficiency is absolutely through the roof, even surpassing some of the craziest XP metas at the very high end of what we know from, something like Soul Shard Season, where people are running GR 130 rats at like 5k Paragon with pools and stuff like that. So they were maybe getting some kind of comparable values with like a fully, automated cheating team. But other than this, there's basically no way to reach such XP values. And this is done solo, obviously assuming that you have infinite amount of keys. So you can't literally sit in this thing for all day, every day. But right now, at least on the PTR, there's a 100% drop rate of a key whenever you do a GR. You can even do this on GR1s. You can literally go through them in like 30 seconds of a dash monk or something, spawn the boss, blast it down. So given that nothing changes, you could actually mega speed farm those keys, and then you can run this for hours on end and get massive amounts of XP. The loot is kind of irrelevant, so you just get like this chest here. It's essentially like running a GR. You get a bunch of loot at the end, and that's about it. And of course the new augment gem, the Whisper of Atonement. A lot of people keep asking me, how does it work? It's nothing different from a normal legendary gem. It's just pre-leveled to 100. You can level it higher if you want in GRs, or you just use it as an augment, same as always, with 3 flawless royal gems and an ancient item. I believe that my setup that I used to run these echoes so quickly was already pretty solid, so I had a fairly good character, and Marauder Demon Hunter is one of the better builds, especially for something like this where you are quite stationary and you can set up your sentries before the monsters even spawn. So this obviously helps you to just rush through it, especially here you see the first waves just disappear in seconds. And if you completely turbo one-shot a wave, then you skip 12 waves at a time. If you take like a second or two, then you skip 3 waves. And then if you take like, 2-3 seconds, you skip 2 waves. And otherwise you skip 1 wave every time you defeat one. Or, maybe every 10 seconds or so, you spawn the next wave automatically. So this is kind of how that works. So especially when you have this multi-shot going in all directions, you obliterate the first waves and you're immediately at like 110, 120, and then you click all the pylons and then you blast away to 150, die and repeat. Or you just let it time out as well if you're hardcore. So you can definitely time that to a point where you take no more than 3 minutes. I was actually doing some runs even faster. That depended a little bit on the monster type and the map as well. So this is one of the better maps here, but kind of bad monster type with the onions there. So there is other monster types that have only small enemies and stuff that actually dies pretty quickly. And then you can actually progress even further. So there's also some kind of like timing you need to find with a bit of experience. I just did those 10 runs in a row to test this out. And you can potentially get up to like 20 trillion experience per hour or so if you manage to do like 22, 23 runs in 1 hour. This is definitely way beyond the wildest dreams of any solo player ever. Even in season 25, it was really rough to go above like 10 trillion XP per hour or so as like a super optimized inner monk with soul shards, pre-nerf, with 5k paragons and pools or something like that. So doing something like 20 trillion an hour potentially or more is just absolutely nuts. Now, some people also asked me if this is actually a good thing for the game or not. And some people suggest that this will close the gap between like the big blasters and the casual players. I believe, in fact, the opposite will happen. Typically, whenever we had very efficient XP metas, the gap actually widened and didn't close. The reason for that being is that, first of all, the big blasters that play all day will typically have more efficient strategies than whatever the casuals will have. And of course, they will simply gather experience in much higher doses through longer play sessions. So that typically they will just have like a runaway Paragon level, like, 10k plus or whatever, if you play like all day, every day. And okay, some casual people will, get a bit higher than usual maybe. But I think the gap overall will actually increase and there will be even less competitiveness. So the only real solution to this problem is to actually have a permanent rework of the Paragon system. So that could be done in like many different ways. I have already proposed my own concept long ago on YouTube. You can go check out that video if you haven't seen it. I don't want to sidetrack too much with this topic right now, but this was definitely a question that came up a lot while I was doing this and afterwards, so I wanted to make this point clear. In any case, if there are no changes in rewards and the availability of the system and potentially the difficulty of the system, so that we might not be able to go that high in the first place anymore with some tweaks, I think that this could potentially be like the craziest XP season ever, especially for the more casual people that typically don't reach those high XP per hour values that I've talked about with like super high-end red runs or similar. So while a lot of people seem to be unhappy about the missing power creep season theme that we had from the last two seasons with ethereals and soul shards, this could be some kind of other factor that will definitely make you feel more powerful. And if it stays anywhere near this efficient, can also help you out if you're planning to get a lot of paragons, for example, for non-seasonal play or something like that. In any case, this was my little test here. So after 10 runs, which took exactly 30 minutes, I had done 10 runs. I had gathered almost 9 trillion experience. So per hour, I was sitting at something like 17, 18 trillion or so, as I had calculated at the end, and still not 100% optimized. With these results, it's actually possible to get to Paragon 2000 in less than 24 hours from season start, and that includes the slow leveling, that includes the gearing up, getting your set, doing the first round of bounties, etc. And you still have leftover time to actually, take a nap if you like. So this goes to show how crazy it is and what you can do with this new anchoring nightmare. It is indeed a very rewarding new type of content. Hope you liked my little video here. I'll keep you guys posted with more PTR content, especially after the 1 week update that we're gonna see probably on Thursday. And see you guys next time.